phones, Babylons can't crack the code.
The 2021 college football season was quite a ride, as we had shocking college football hires at the end of the year, like Lincoln Riley to USC and Brian Kelly to LSU. We had conference championship win streaks come to an end with OU in the Big 12 and Ohio State in the Big 10. And we had the first ever Group of 5 team make the college football playoff in Cincinnati. While all those events during the 21 season could have a whole separate video made about them, that's not the topic of today's video. As the start of the 21 season, there was a big event that happened during the Ohio State versus Akron football game. A football game on paper which was going to be a blowout and in favor of Ohio State, had something else happen during the game that was more talked about than the Ohio State win, and that was when Kevon Pope, linebacker for Ohio State, seemingly quit the team mid-game. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about what happened to Kevon Pope. To start this video off, I'm going to take it to Dinwiddie, Virginia, where Kevon Pope was destroying the Virginia prep scene. In his high school football career, he played both sides of the ball. As a receiver, he racked up 107 career receptions for 1,852 yards, averaging 17 yards a reception and 14 total touchdowns through the air. And on the ground, he accounted for 145 yards and 3 total touchdowns. But defense is where he was being heavily recruited at, and is where ultimately he was the biggest impact player. As in his career on the 4-year varsity level, he racked up 283 career tackles, 56 tackles for loss, and 9 sacks, along with 26 QB hurries. The year that Kevon Pope really broke out onto the high school scene in Virginia was 2016 in his junior campaign, in which in 15 games played, he had 135 total tackles, 29 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks, 11 quarterback hurries, 9 pass deflections, 6 interceptions, and 2 fumble recoveries. He would close his high school career with another strong year as a senior with 100 plus tackles at 104, 16 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and 1 interception. As a prospect in the 2018 recruiting class, Pope was rated as a 4-star composite player according to 24/7 Sports, the number 217 player nationally, and the number 9 inside linebacker, along with the number 4 player in the state of Virginia. He held a total of 14 offers coming out of high school from schools such as Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, Florida State, and Georgia, just to name a few, and he would end up choosing the Buckeyes. As a true freshman during the 2018 college football season, Kevon Pope appeared in 11 games for the Buckeyes and played sparingly in those 11 games and racked up 1 total tackle. His role was expected to increase going into 2019. He was still a reserve role linebacker, but he did see his meaningful playing time go up during the 19 college football season. As with the Buckeyes, he would play in 13 games and would rack up a total of 13 tackles and even 2 interceptions. Going into the 2020 college football offseason, one would think that Pope was about to go into his 3rd year at Ohio State and have his biggest season yet. However, if you remember what happened in 2020, it happened in the world, it affected college football. It made people have less time to prepare for the season as a team overall. The season was at one point in limbo, but ultimately the season did end up getting played. Everyone played a shortened schedule, especially the Big Ten. In that shortened 2020 season, Kevon Pope did not have the biggest role with the Buckeyes and was still a reserve linebacker. He would appear in 6 games for the Buckeyes in his junior campaign, where he finished with a total of 2 tackles and 1.5 tackles for loss. Going into his senior campaign, the 2021 college football season, it was supposed to be a year where, at this point in his career, you would expect him to be his best self and potentially be a starter for the Buckeyes, but that wasn't the case. Kevon Pope was still a backup linebacker that would play sparingly and would primarily be a special teams guy up to this point. But the year would not go as expected, not only for Ohio State that was expected to be a conference championship winner and a playoff team, but it wouldn't go as expected for Kevon Pope. In a Week 4 game versus Akron, an Akron team that wasn't very good heading in and honestly, their football history has never been that great anyways. Ohio State is expected to win this game handily, even without CJ Stroud, and that they did. They put up 622 yards. They were locked down defense all game long. The running backs had a great day, and Kyle McCord ultimately had a good game. They won this game 59-7. However, that wasn't the story from the game. It wasn't that they demolished this Akron team. It was that Kevon Pope quit the team mid-game. The event in question, this whole time people said he quit mid-game, it started with a substitution linebacker package that caused some confusion, in which Pope would end up getting frustrated that he was not in and got pulled out instead. This is a game where a lot of people who aren't necessarily the starters get a lot of PT and can really show their opportunities, show the coaches what they can do in the future down the line for their team. However, knowing that this is his 4th year and he got pulled out when he was supposed to be in, Pope got frustrated. He got into argument with various Ohio State football staff members and was sent to go to the locker room by Ryan Day. And going to the locker room, he threw gloves into the stands and ultimately was not very happy. And no player in this situation is going to be happy no matter what. It doesn't matter if you are a starter, someone who's never played in a game. It doesn't matter. This situation, 99.9% of the time, the player is not going to be happy, and that's just the case. But here's where it kind of gets interesting to the story, as he goes in the locker room and starts tweeting mid-game. The first tweet that Pope made was good luck to his teammates. However, shortly after, he would tweet yet again. This tweet was only up for a very short amount of time and is now deleted. However, if you know the internet, if you post something once and you already had traction because of everything that's being publicized mid-game, people are surely going to screenshot what you post, and that's exactly what happened. If you can read the tweet that I have on the screen, you can tell it's not very pro-Ohio State. Because of this whole ordeal, Kevon Pope would be dismissed a day later. Because of all this, Pope would put out a statement apologizing, saying, "Last night, I let my emotions get the best of me. For that, I want to apologize to my teammates, coaches, and Buckeye Nation. I made a mistake and know that I need to be better and do better. I'm going to take this time to reflect and work on my mental well-being." He would eventually enter the transfer portal shortly after. Pope would end his career as a Buckeye with 19 total tackles, 1.5 tackles for loss, and 2 interceptions. He would end up being in the portal for a few more months and eventually landing at Tennessee State. Despite how things ended at Ohio State, Kevon Pope has seemed to make a full bounce back at Tennessee State in 2022, as he was a big contributor on the defensive side of the ball and became one of the top players in the Ohio Valley Conference. He was an All-Ohio Valley Conference second-team defensive member and was a part of the all-newcomer team for the conference. In that season, he had a good year, 62 total tackles, 4 tackles for loss, half a sack, 1 forced fumble. Pope is coming back to the Tigers for the 2023 college football season for his last year of eligibility, and the expectations are very high for him. He's expected to be a leader, an anchor of the defense, and be a top player in the Ohio Valley Conference for a second year in a row. Even though things did not necessarily go his way at Ohio State, and it closed off in a pretty bad fashion, Pope has seemed to make a full turnaround in his college football career and seems to be thriving at Tennessee State. And if he has another big year with the Tigers in 2023, he will have an opportunity to continue his football career on the pro level, showing people that despite making a mistake, the one mistake that you can make, no matter how big or small it is, doesn't define who you are as a person or as a player. Well guys, if you made this far in today's video, drop something down in the comment section below what videos you want to see on this channel in the future. And before you head out, remember to smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, and subscribe if you haven't already. B. Kelly out.